Very Serious Crafts podcast is on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/seriouscrafts to support our podcast, find out about our Patreon half-stitched episodes, and more.
Hello, and welcome to Season 4, Episode 1 of the Very Serious Crafts podcast. I'm Haley from Red Handled Scissors and the Bones and Bobbins podcast.
And I'm Molly from Wild Olive. Today we'll be talking about what we've been up to since our last season. But before we do that, we thought we should tell you a little bit about what's to come in this new season. So we've been talking about things and making plans, and the obvious first thing is that it's just Haley and Mollie here right now, and
yes.
Yeah.
Hi.
Just two voices. And yeah, so Heidi is taking care of herself and doing the things that she needs to do, and she keeps, every once in a while there's like a hint that she might stop in and see us. So
yes, I expect at some point she will, because she keeps finding things that ought to be on the podcast.
Yeah, it hasn't left her.
No, the podcast clutches, they remain.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we love Heidi, and we completely agree that she's doing the right thing for herself.
Yeah.
So don't worry, we all still love each other.
Yep.
There's nothing exciting going on in the background.
Yep. So yeah, for right now, it's just Haley and Mollie. And we're just going to see how this goes. I think that's the other thing. Look at this. I'm already jumping this list. I had this list all like planned out for how we would talk about this. And I'm jumping the list. We are keeping things relaxed. And then I didn't finish a sentence in my plans, but basically that's how this is going. We're going to just see how it is, and we have fun when we have these conversations, and whether we're recording or not. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have fun. Not that we haven't had fun before. We're going to
have less structure.
Yeah.
It's going to be more like really just hanging out with your crafting friends, talking about specific topics.
Yeah.
And we're also going to do shorter episodes, and probably only one topic per show, because that's sort of more fun to ping pong back and forth.
Yeah.
And I feel like we will get to places that we might not otherwise get to if we had a list of topics.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to try that out and see if we like it and see if you guys like it.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be fun.
I think so too. And we, if you've ever supported us on Patreon and you've listened to one of our half-stitched episodes, we've said anything could happen, and it kind of does. Sometimes the episodes on half-stitched start with one thing in mind and they go in a different direction, and it's okay, because that was the conversation we were supposed to have in that episode. And so we might have a little bit more of that feeling in our main episodes as well, just because we can.
Yeah, and I mean, we are a crafting related comedy podcast, and that's always been the case. It's just that when we were starting out, we didn't know what we were doing, and so we imposed a structure that made sense
and was
for
helpful
us at the time.
Yeah,
it was super helpful. But now that we've had a little bit of a break and a chance to think about how we wanted to approach things, because we haven't really taken a break, and actually had time to think about it. It was like planning for the next episode, even between seasons.
Yeah.
And so it was really nice to just step back and be like, oh, maybe we want to just hang out with you guys and have it be more of a conversation.
Yes. Yeah. So this is where we are.
Yeah. Welcome to where we are.
Yeah, exactly. And so I feel like this is almost cliche to say, but on that note,
Oh boy.
It's just a favorite line in the podcast.
On that bombshell.
Yeah, I don't know. But no, before we jump into our topic for this episode, we want to give a shout out to all of our serious friends of the Very Serious Crafts podcast who are supporting us at patreon.com/seriouscrafts. Many, many thanks to everyone who has stuck with us while the show was on hiatus. We truly appreciate it. You are the best.
Yes, we really, really do. Thanks. It's been so nice to have a little chance to talk to you and get some feedback, and we'd like to do a lot more of that.
Yeah.
So, stay tuned. The Patreon is about to have us talking a little bit more in it.
Yeah. I think that's a good description there.
Yeah.
So, it's been a minute. December was like several months ago now, I think. And
I don't even
something like that.
I don't know what day it is.
Yeah. No, I always know what day it is when we record because it's always on a Wednesday. So I know that part.
Oh, I know what day of the week it is.
Oh,
it's the date that I do.
Okay.
Oh,
fine.
wait, no, I do know the date because yesterday was my birthday.
Yes,
so I have a reference point.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. 38. I'm feeling pretty good about it.
I love it. Yeah. So, what have we been up to in this little time off that we've had? What have you been working on? What were things that you wanted to be working on? What are things that just didn't happen? What?
Those of you who have been listening to this podcast for the duration will know about my Professor Meow sweater. And I still haven't started it. So that that hasn't changed.
Okay.
But I've sort of been in the process of shifting crafts. You know how I think anybody who crafts knows that there's a sort of cycle of falling in and out of love with a very specific thing.
Yes, very much that.
So, like, I fell deeply in love with English paper piecing, and that's all I did for a while. And sewing clothes was one of those. And sometimes all I want to do is knit. Mm-hmm. But right now, I am in the process of switching out my more generic crafting supplies. So, like, paints and things that I used to use in my professional life that just aren't really part of the things that I do anymore.
Yeah.
And I am switching those out and like using the shelf space, like moving things around on the shelf so I can get to the things I'm actually using. Mm-hmm. And so candle making equipment has taken up residence and I am just delighted.
I like that.
Very, very pleased. I mean, it's just so soothing.
Yeah.
And also so much experimentation to, not to do it, but to do it well.
Right. And I think that's probably a good indicator of really any craft that like is going to welcome you into something in a big way is that like you can like get started right away, but that there's lots of room for trying new things. So that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, so I'm doing that. How about you?
Well, let's see. Things that I definitely thought that I would be starting in the new year, I have not really started. I will say that towards the end of season 3, I talked about my newfound interest in miniature kits. And
yes.
I at that point I had not purchased one, but I bought one for myself and then my parents gave me one as well. So I have a coffee shop and a bookstore. And
Yes.
I have precisely made 2 tiny chairs. But they're so delightful.
But they were really cute
They're
tiny
really
chairs.
cute tiny chairs. And the thing is, what I think I need to make next is the structure to, start adding on to. And then also the coffee shop came with a little like acrylic plexi kind of case to keep the dust off. And so I feel like I need to get those things done next so that everything can stay safe in there and I don't have just pieces gathering dust or just getting
and
crunched
then
or
there's
something.
to build off of.
Yes. So
it's not like the pressure of starting.
Yeah.
Now you can just do it as you want.
Yeah. So that's sort of a start, but I do still really want to work on that. Also, most recently,
it's going to take over your life. Is the thing.
I think it could. Of course, I've had, ongoing projects that I'm always doing for work things and whatever, which is why I haven't spent as much time on my little miniature kits. But you'll probably appreciate, I don't want this to turn into like a whole big like train of shame of things that I have failed. But
I don't feel bad about the Professor Meow sweater.
No,
it'll happen when it's ready.
Exactly.
In its own time.
Exactly. One of the things I wanted to make was I wanted to make some fingerless mitts for myself. Mm-hmm. And I have this yarn that I've had sitting here for 2 years that I wasn't sure what I would use it for. The yarn was a gift to me. And so, but I love it. I wasn't sure what to do with it. 1 skein of DK weight. And so I thought mitts, and I saw these great sleeves on a sweater that I loved, and they were in herringbone stitch in knitting. Ooh. And they're just wonderful. And I thought, what if I make myself some herringbone knit fingerless mitts? But you know what? Herringbone stitch is a funny one to get to understand exactly how it moves and stretches and what needle size you need. And I've started the swatch 3 times.
Oh, yeah. It's way more structured.
Yeah, exactly. And I have, such admiration for anyone who designs in herringbone because there's a lot more going on with that. And so I really still want these mitts, but I don't know how many times I can swatch it and still keep going right now. It's very close to being set aside entirely until I don't know.
The problem that it's too small or too big? Like, what is the actual swatch related issue?
Well, the first time I was trying to transition, I wanted to see what it would transition from like a little bit of ribbing into that so that I could create like a cuff. And it was just weird. Like, okay, I'll start over. So then I did that again, and I found a combination that I liked. And I was like, okay, I'm measuring this amount, and I'm going to multiply this out, and it'll be perfect. And it came out so much bigger the second time, even though I don't know what happened. And I don't know if maybe I just measured incorrectly the first time. Like if I didn't, work with it enough. I don't know, but
I mean, sometimes once more structured stitches are added, like more of them, it spreads out the areas that are less structured. So I wonder if that wasn't the case.
I need to try again, but it's sort of in the naughty pile, if you will.
I learned something, speaking of fibers and stretch.
Yes.
That I feel like I should share with the universe. So you know how when you make something and you accidentally shrink it?
Uh-huh.
Whether it be clothing or not. Apparently, if you heat it with an iron, it relaxes those fibers And you can stretch it and possibly get it back to where it once was.
Really?
Or at least closer. Yeah. It came up in a sewing context.
Okay.
But yeah, like for woolens and things like that, because that heat relaxes
Yeah.
the fibers, they aren't nearly as locked.
Huh.
Because that's what's happening when things
Right,
shrink.
right.
It's just
So,
fibers being locked.
dry iron, or do you use a
I
little moisture?
I think a little moisture, because I think you would need the moisture to stretch.
Right. That makes sense.
Um,
But also,
but I
obviously,
haven't done
you know,
it.
Okay.
I will leave this as a caveat. If you think you have ruined something already,
Yeah. It's not going to get worse.
that's a thing to try.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is not a thing to try if you're just like sizing something.
Right. Interesting. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Huh. See, you never know what might come up in these conversations.
It's
Helpful
true,
tip.
and I wish I could remember where I read that. I can't. Maybe it was a costume, like a reenactment
Yeah.
costume sewer. I can't remember. But if it sounds familiar to somebody and you know where it came from, or if it came from you, do let me know, and I will give you credit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really interesting tip. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but also it's not the first thing that you would go to. So,
No, but it does. It is a thing.
yeah.
I just.
Let's see.
There's something very weird happening behind me. Hold on.
Oh.
Oh, there's ice falling off of the fire escape, and it keeps landing on things and sounding like the end of the world. All right. It is no longer the end of the world.
Okay, perfect. It's always good when we can document not the end of the world in a recording.
I appreciate not the end of the
Yeah,
world, although some work seems to have started right below me.
Okay.
So if you hear any earthquakey sounds, that's what that is.
Still not the end of the world.
No.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Other things that have been going on for me in this little break is I finally convinced my sister to help me with more work things here. I've officially hired her. And if you follow me on Instagram, that might not be new news, but it's been absolutely wonderful. She is so talented. She's 16, and I taught her to embroider, and like an hour later she presented me with perfect stitches, and my mind was blown.
I mean, her work is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and like I've been stitching for most of my life, and there's pieces that she has helped me with where we both worked on the same piece of embroidery and you can't tell the difference. She works like,
which is amazing.
Yeah, she works like an very experienced stitcher, and so of course I'm super proud of her. And the amazing thing has been it's helped me like move some things forward for my shop. I've released several new patterns that, one of them I'd been thinking about since last August. And,
yeah,
it's one of those, like, before we actually hit record, Haley and I were talking about external deadlines and how even if they're false, like, it's just like a mind game almost that you give yourself, that can make a big difference. And having someone that I am paying to help me with things, it inspires me to get things ready for her to work on. And
well, yeah, that makes complete sense.
So it's been a game changer. Oh my goodness, you have a kitty jumping behind you.
Hi, Jack.
Oh, she appeared from almost
one
nowhere.
Of the no longer kittens.
Yeah, but still super cute. So anyway,
well, they're also still small.
Yeah. Well,
They're full grown, I think, but small.
Yes, I like that. Small kitties are, well, they're fun to scoop up too, so. And when they jump on your head,
Exactly.
they don't weigh as much, so that's nice.
That's true.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes, those have been, I think, some of the big things that I have been working on.
No, I'm really
I don't know.
excited about the development with your sister. I feel like that professionally is going to take some pressure off
Yeah.
that like w- being a one woman design professional
Yeah.
is like it's really hard to go. Like you can finish a design pretty quickly, but if you've got something in
Yeah.
mind, but man, stitching that example, and I hate to release anything without actually having tried it.
Yes.
And yeah, so I'm deeply jealous that you have a little sister available who can stitch.
And I tell you what, like I I always struggle to delegate in general.
Hmm.
It's also really hard for me to like I try not to be super controlling about things, but when it's your own business and your own, as you said, one woman show, like
Yeah.
it's it's hard to like hand things off to other people and say, "Here, would you do this for me?" And then you want to like give people space to work on things and um not micromanage, obviously. But when you send that
I'm
out
really bad at not micromanaging.
yeah. When you send stuff out to someone somewhere else, like doing, doing that in a way that is like releasing it to someone else to work on is hard. And then figuring
Hmm.
out like the photography element of it. Do you have them do it? Do they mail it to you so that your photography is all consistent? There's like a whole bunch of things
Oh, yeah, I didn't think
that
about
that
that.
come along with it. And we now, Grace and I work as a team here where I can ask her, what do you think about this thread color even? Or yeah, go ahead and I think based on how that looks, do that in two strands of embroidery fly. Like little things like that along the way that we can
That's
work
so
together.
useful. Hmm.
Yeah. And then it's right here ready to photograph. Even like if I need to take steps along the way, I can take the step out photos here. Yeah. It's wonderful.
I love this new development.
And it gives her an opportunity to earn money from home that, she that might not come up otherwise unless she decided to start her own home business. So it's been nice. I like it.
Well, she might, since she's
It
clearly very good.
yeah. She has at one point said, "Yeah, I mean, I'd like to do something like how Molly does her work and,
I think that's
you never know what
adorable.
could happen."
Yay, Grace.
I know. I know. I'm such a proud big sister too, but it's
Yeah.
just cuz she's just wonderful in general and this was like icing on the cake.
Yes. It is very, very sweet.
She is. She
I
is.
didn't mean to make that joke.
But
Hey, is that our first dad joke
I
of the season?
I think it is. I think it is.
All
So,
right.
it's
All right.
perfect. It's perfect. My goodness. Do you have any other stuff that you've been doing or are you just like chilling?
I I'm not chilling because I'm not capable of it. But I I don't know. I've been sort of like doing things around the apartment, like replacing things, organizing things, like just that's where much of my time has gone because I've reached the point where as of less than a week will be the anniversary of when New York City went into lockdown.
Yeah.
And so you've been inside for a year.
Yeah.
I think I've gone outside 7 times
Wow.
this year.
Wow.
And so there comes a point where it's just like, I need to get rid of some of the stuff that is here and make everything in a nice, colorful, ordered stack, please.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny how life sometimes just makes it hard to actually find the time to do that. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, and there are a million things that I should be doing. I'm working on a new book proposal, which is, I guess, the actual thing that I've been up to. But since I can't talk really in detail about that, yeah, I think that's about the extent. I got a new ratcheting screwdriver, and I'm super excited.
Okay.
It is on my pegboard, so I can just grab it whenever I need, and it has interchangeable, like onboard storage for interchangeable bits.
Okay.
And I can just grab it whenever I need to tighten something in the apartment, and it's just available. I don't have to dig through drawers. I'm really pleased with myself.
Excellent. Yeah, it's like I got some awls so that I can make more holes and things. I mean, really, that's the goal.
that is what they do. It's true. What are you making holes in, Mollie?
I mean, just about anything I want to now, right? That's
it's true.
The plan is for the ability to do a little bit more bookbinding, but also it'll just make it easier to embroider on odd things when you can just make those holes and not have to, like, I think I'm trying to think what it was I was doing.
Yeah, like pre-pricking paper embroidery and stuff like that.
There was something that I was working on, and now I can't even remember what it was because it was like a month ago and I can't remember that far back. Mm-hmm. But I was poking holes with either like a needle or a push pin or something like that. And I was like, why do I keep doing this? Obviously, I craft things that require me to do this regularly. Why don't I just buy the actual tool that I need? So I did.
Do you know that there is a bobbin lace tool specifically for pricking patterns? And I have a very, very ergonomic, well-balanced one, and it holds pins, so when the pin gets dull, you can just switch it out.
Oh, nice.
It's called a pin vise, I think.
Oh. I guess, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, you might want to look into that.
Okay. All right. Noted.
For your hole making needs.
Well, that's obviously I have real needs in that area. This is a weird conversation.
I'm just
we're gonna stop.
Leave it there.
We're gonna stop.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so this was a fun first episode, and I think it means it's time to wrap things up, yeah?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
We should probably do that. Shut it down.
Shut it down. Well, thank you for listening to the Very Serious Crafts podcast. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Serious Crafts, and on Facebook at Very Serious Crafts. You can also find show notes and all things Very Serious Crafts at veryseriouscrafts.com. And finally, if you are a fan of the Very Serious Crafts podcast, wow, I'm out of practice. I'm losing my breath. Please leave us a 5-star review on whichever platform you use to listen to podcasts. Good ratings help us show up in recommendations, which helps more people who love crafting find us. There you have it.
And that is really true.
Yeah.
If you leave words, that's actually the one that matters. So, like, leave us a recipe or something. I don't know. Just say hello.
Recipe. Your best recommendations for awls, pin vices, punches.
Oh, and I want to hear about your cats. Your cats' names.
Yeah. Yeah. That also works.
Yeah. Or dogs.
Yes.
Either way. Anyway.
Guinea pigs are also welcome.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like that's good.
Okay, we've covered it all.
We should walk away from this now.
Yes.
All right.
Have a good day.
Yes, bye.